Hi everyone, thanks so much for coming through to this video today. My name's Tash and I'm from Heart and Design. Welcome to the Heart Tribe. We're going to today do this scarf, hat and glove set that is part of the winter theme that I'm doing for January and February. So you can get the printables like this one by registering your email on my website, which is heartanddesign.org.uk. That's H-A-R-T, Heart and Design. Or you can check the community tab for any that you've missed. But if you really want to make sure you get the future ones, you'll need to register your email on my website. So that's that. So we're going to have a go at that today. We've already had a session showing you how to draw it. We've already had a session doing watercolor. We've also had an acrylic session, and now we're going to do markers. So I have Ohuhu markers. I think that's how you say it. I absolutely love working with them. So we're just going to dive straight in. Now what I have done is I've redrawn it onto marker paper, which is very transparent, so you can trace over the printable that is included. If you think you're going to like what you see, please do click the subscribe and notification bell so that you can hear about my future videos. I am on all the socials as well if you want to follow me. Yeah, so let's get started. I'm going to start with the palest first. Now what I'm going to do is take all the lids off and have them sitting there so that when I'm ready to do any blending, I can get hold of the pen quickly, because the best blending is done quite quickly. So I'm going to take the hat one section at a time, and I want the lighter blue in the middle and then the slightly darker blue at the top and bottom. And the best way to do the blending is by feathering into each other. Okay, so hopefully you saw that. I'm going to do the same all the way along. I'm not using the dark blue yet. I may not use it at all, to be honest. We'll see. And then I'm going to come back and blend that in as best I can. Okay, I'm going to do that all the way along. I'm going to try and get it so there's like a nice strip of light in the middle there. I am using the brush end, but we may use the ballpoint end, not the ballpoint, but you know what I mean, the fine nib end, for when we come and do detail, where there's detail. So I'm just blending that in still. Oh, that's the light one, isn't it? So light layer first, and then flick in the dark. Flick, just flick from the bottom up, and then layer it down. I am going quite quick because some of you are more advanced than others, and I don't want to bore you. And if I'm going too fast, you know, you can always slow it down, can't you? Right, the lighter colour here and the darker one here, and we'll just blend that in. You've got to be quite quick because they do dry pretty quickly. So what I'm going to do, no, didn't want that there. I'm also now coming over with the lighter one and just making sure like the lighter area is pretty much the same all the way across in a strip. See, there's a bit there. Yeah, we just want to colour that in. So there's like a little bit of light colour in the middle. Okay. So we're going to come down and do the same on the bottom sections. Okay, kind of the same thing. Oh, bottom as well. And this just gives it that little bit of 3D effect. Okay. Oh, wrong one. Need to do the middle first. And come down. So hopefully you can see that coming together. Oh, put the wrong colour on. Whoopsie, that's okay. Mistakes happen. See, as soon as I start talking, that's when mistakes do happen. So I'll have to blend that in a bit more in other places as well now, so it doesn't look too obvious. Yeah, which is fine. It's not what I wanted, but it's fine. It's not what I was aiming for, so don't do a me. Check your pen bit first. As I say, I'm trying to go quite quickly and I'm talking, so that's probably the first of a few mistakes, but it's all good. Yeah, okay. I'm now just going to go over that shape lightly with that blue, and I'm going to come down and shade that in just a little bit. As you can see, it does dry like a different colour from what I'm actually laying down. Okay, I might just do all of that quite dark there. There, and then that blob in the middle doesn't look so bad, does it? And I'll do the same here. Just bring up, I like to do that anyway, just kind of where there are lines and detail, just bring that colour in. Okay, so that's the hat done. Oh, we should do the bobble, shouldn't we? So I'm just going to go over with my lightest colour, just going in a scribbly fashion. Okay, and then I'm coming in with my lighter next value, which is the colour I've been using below, and then I'm going to come in with a slightly different blue as well, because I'm going to add it in to do some really, really darks. So this will help in kind of bringing in even more depth to see the values. I always say have 3 shades of the colour you want to use, because the value, the darkness or lightness of the markers will in the end give you your 3D effect and the more realist kind of effect. I'm going to just do the bobble quite dark at the bottom because it's at the bottom and there won't be as much light there. So there you can see how that's already changed the effect, because I've just put some of that dark in. This is our lowest, our darkest value. So I always start with the lighter value and then come in with the darker value at the end. And although it's not the end of the picture, it is kind of the end of the hat. Once I've done this, I'm pretty much done with the hat. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the scarf. Now I still want to keep it to blues, even though there's all that pattern there. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to lay a layer of light blue all over, going in the direction of the scarf and keeping it as light as I can. I don't want to layer over the colour again, because if you layer over the same colour it will go darker than what it actually is. So keep going with that. Try and keep it as tidy as possible. I mean, I could go over everything in this colour, but I'm going to just take it one item at a time. So now that we've done the hat, we'll go straight into the scarf. Or something I also do when I'm using my markers is I turn the nib, same as you would turn a pencil, so that you're not just using one edge of the pencil and squidging it down in one direction. Keep changing it. Whether that makes any difference or not to the lasting of the nib, I don't know, but it feels right to do it. To me anyway. Right. So we're nearly done. Right, so we've got our base colour down. So now it's time to come to our mid-range colour, our mid-range value I should say. And I'm going to start by pulling in some dark around the edges, and then like we did before, blending it down into that what will be the lighter colour in the middle. Okay, so just blending that down, and then you can start to see like it's lighter coming up the middle. So I'm just going to do that all the way up. Just to give it the same effect all the way up. It's nice and quick. You don't have to take lots of time when you're using markers, I find. Pencil colouring. I was doing some pencil tutorials. Now here it's going to be darker because it's overlapping. So although I'm sticking with my light pen, I'm going over it to make sure we can see that that is much darker there. Okay, just where that, see, I've just created a little bit of shadow there, and I'm going to come up and go over the shadow as well because it's going to be much darker there than anywhere else. And then I'm going to use my light one again and just blend it up into the middle like so. And you can go up into the middle as far as you want. I might come down at the bottom a bit there. Right, so now we want to do the same. I'm just going to come up here actually and do a bit more. It just looked like too much of just a line there. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with my marker and do the same. I'm going to come around like that. I'm going to get my, no, I'm not. I'm going to come in with the darker one across the edge like that, and I'm going to put that across there because it will be a bit darker, and then I'm going to try and flick blend. Oh, there isn't on that side, there isn't any. Can't blend it in if there's nothing there. And try and blend that all the way along. There we go. Bring it into the middle a bit more if you feel like you need to, and I do think it needs a bit more here because it's the underside. It's going to be a bit darker, but it doesn't need to be set to one of the strips, you know, it needs to kind of be brought in a bit. Okay, make it a bit darker there as well. Okay, so again, we're going to come in from the ends. This can stay dark here because that's where the shadow is. I'm going to come across here and create a bit of shadow, and then I'm going to flick this into the rest of the picture. Again, we're going to need to have a bit of shadow here because this is where the glove is resting. We're going to kind of bring it over a bit and pull that in to the rest of, oops, wrong colour again. Right, so we're just flicking the pen into the middle, and then we can flick back that inner colour and try and blend that into the middle a bit more. And I'm going to go over the bottom bit there and try and blend that darker bit in. Okay, so hopefully that now looks quite 3D. I will say under this little bit here, I think we need that extra shadow, and I'm just going to blend that in a bit because that's showing where the folds are, and here as well. I did this on the paintings as well because you need those shadows to be able to show where the folds are above. And I think I need to just come along here as well, and we'll blend that in a bit more there. Okay, so now we're going to come down to the gloves, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go over the whole thing in the lowest value, the lightest value. Obviously just use what colours you have, what pens you have. You don't have to worry about using the same as me. And please do say in the comments if there's anything, if I'm going too fast or too slow, or I'm not explaining something, please do let me know. Okay. Okay. Right. So now I'm going to come in with this darker pen and start to fill in some of the ends where, well, actually that will probably be in the light, won't it? But we need to put some, I think all we need actually is the lighter version on here near the fingers there, because if we put the dark colour in, I don't know, maybe just a little bit of that dark colour to show where the fingers are, but not too much, right? And a little bit down there, and then smudge that in as well, as though that's just where the thumb is coming out. We're trying to make it realistic, but we don't want to really like be too pronounced with our colour changes in the gloves. I think like there, I think that's quite noticeable and not really necessary, but actually once it dries I'm sure it'll be fine. Remember, it dries different to how we put it down. There we go. So I think that's enough really. We don't need to do much more with the glove hand. Let's try and put some definition in, maybe here, maybe at the bottom, and maybe coming out here we need some, and we can try and put that in a bit. Yeah, like that, just like a little bit of definition, and then we're going over it again with this colour. Perfect. Right, we're coming on to the next glove. And let's see, so shadow wise, I think we said we need to put the shadow on the other finger in, and that really worked well, didn't it? So let's do that. That helps to create that 3D-ness in the fingers and around the thumb area. Let's go down here and make that darker because it's at the bottom. Okay, and we're just going to blend that in. And we need to kind of join it together a little bit. I am using the lighter colour here still. And I'm just trying to kind of correct what I've done before. I hadn't put any dark in here, so I'm going to do that quickly. And I think maybe just a little bit around here. Nice. And possibly drag that along there. Then I'm going to come in here like we did before. Put some dark in and then come over it and kind of blend that out. Like the other one. Maybe a bit more. They need to look similar, don't they? Right, so now I'm going to use... Oh, I think I was using the darkest one. That's why it looks so dark. Oh, I am silly. There we are. So, coming under here. And I'm just going round now. And I'm emphasising some of the dark areas. And I might even come in and start colouring in. On the actual picture you'll see on the screen, it's black and white, but obviously I'm focusing on blue. So I'm just going to redraw some of the patterns in the same colour and see what I think of that. I'm using now my darkest blue, which I was accidentally using before. This is the thing, you've got to keep an eye on what pen's in your hand. And when I'm talking at the same time, it can be tricky. I'm not worried about that pattern really. All that one. Come to that one. Let's do the circles, and the triangles. It's nice sometimes just to stick to one colour and just use the different values of that colour to create the design. Because very often, you know, your glove sets and your hat and scarf sets, they all come in set colours, don't they? So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. As I say, please put the comments below if I'm too quick, don't give enough information. just let me know. It's a relatively new channel. I don't have a lot of time to spend on YouTube, so I don't really prepare. I just, on the day, I just get stuck in and start teaching, because I think it's good for you to see like my train of thought and how I come to my decisions as well. And now I'm just going in and drawing some of those lines in a slightly different colour. I think that's fine. I'm going to go to my mid colour really for that, I think. See, actually the mid and the dark are very similar, so I don't think it really matters too much. I'm just double checking I'm happy with everything. Need to darken up the thumbs a bit. The whole point was that the thumb parts are a different colour, or the end parts of the fingers are a different colour, so we have to actually make them that different colour, make them darker. Okay, I think we're done. But what I might do, sometimes what I like to do is come in with a white gel pen or a silver or a gold one and just do some little finishing touches. So I'm going to do that today. I've got silver here, so I'm going to go in and just go over some of the details with the sparkly silver. Don't know, can you see that? Looks nice, and it's just a nice little tip for you and a nice way to finish it off. And sometimes, you know, you do get these little sparkly scarf and hat sets, don't you? They've got little sparkles in them for winter, and you can see that on there. It does actually look nice. It just gives it a little bit of something extra. But I'm just going over some of the lines that are there. I'm not really doing anything too difficult. I mean, what you could do is you could do little circles and make them look like sparkly bits on your design. So I am going to come in and go over some of the details of the patterns with it, just to bring that out. So that's something else you can do. I do love sparkly pens for that. I love a little bit of sparkle in my designs. Why not? Why not? And as I say, it just gives it a really nice finishing touch. Can you see the sparkle on the screen? It really does just give it an extra touch, especially when you've done a single colour design and you're just using value. It's just gives it that extra something, and I think it's needed. I do think it's needed. You can obviously use any kind of colour pen that you have, but I do think the sparkly ones will look great if you're going to give it a go. So I'm just going to do that now. I was going to go over that, wasn't I? So let's do it properly. Okay, and down here. So where I've got some of the detail lines on the gloves, I'm going to come in with a bit of shine there. It's just something little that when you're thinking, even if you're doing colouring in sheets, remember these sheets are downloadable, so you could use them as colouring in sheets. This is a nice tip just to help finish a design and bring it to life a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit at the end of the little bit of shine at the end of the fingers. And you can do whatever you want to do, can't you? It's yours. But I quite like that little bit of shine there. Might just do some little dots on the hat, if you can see that. And you can put some dots all over the hat, as I suggested before. It can be a spotty, sparkly hat. But I don't think we need it necessarily on the scarf because it's got the pattern, but we could actually put some on the gloves. A few little sparkly dots. See, when I started, you never thought this would come about, would you? There's always like a really ugly stage of any drawing and painting. I always say just don't stop and look, just keep going, because eventually it will come together. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed that. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notification bell, because then you'll hear about my new videos. Remember to subscribe by email on my website heartanddesign.org.uk, and check the community section for the downloads, and then you can follow along or just use them as colouring sheets. There's also the step-by-step learning to draw sheets, which you'll see in my drawing videos, where I show you how to draw them, the step-by-step instructions. So you've got everything then, and you can follow along with all of my designs. That was the acrylic one, and that was the watercolour, and that was drawing. So yeah, we've had this, that was this week's full set of tutorials. So see you next week for, I think we're going to do the level 3 drawing ones, which, so they get a bit harder as we go along through the set. So we'll see you then. Bye everyone.